I wanted to thank everyone for attending and making the time to come out here. I know we got some tired faces and stuff. It's been a long haul. I feel like I was back in college again, where the coaches and stuff were rounding us up at 6 a.m. and getting us on the bus. But I appreciate everybody taking the time to come here, visit us. I appreciate John, your hospitality and your support as well. I want to thank Alec for his advice and guidance also, and Richard Seville, our partner from Orocobre. He's not available right now. He's at another meeting. He'll be there tomorrow for the site visit. I want to also thank my team, Dylan and Max, for setting everything up. I'm not really technically oriented, and these guys got everything set up quite nice. So hopefully you guys can see everything in the back there. Tomorrow, you're going to get a unique opportunity to see an exploration company, which I've developed and put together with a team that I'll let you make the decision how good they are. I'm not going to stand up here and talk about how good I think they am. After tomorrow's visit and our presentation today, I'm hoping you make your own conclusions. Number two, you'll see a development company, and our colleagues, LAC and SQM, have done a great job up there. We're working quite closely together. Everybody seems to be getting along. The drill rigs seem to be working up there quite well, and the teams are getting along pretty good, so we appreciate that. And you'll see our partner, Orocobre, a development company. You'll see their facility up there, where they've spent over a decade in this industry, in this area in Argentina, developed Cochari. We're very proud to be partners with them. I think we elevated ourselves back in March 31st, 2017 by partnering with them and leveraging off their expertise. Obviously, our goal is to become the next independent lithium producer in Argentina. There's a couple ways that we're going to attack that. We'll show you that a little bit in our presentation. And our presentation, initially, we want to focus on the value proposition that Advantage Lithium provides serious investors who take a long-term view of lithium and lithium carbonate versus our peers. There are a lot of exploration companies out there, but in the first three slides, I want to demonstrate the value proposition that we provide to investors. I'll jump right into one of the metrics that I like to talk about right off the bat is our capital structure. Currently, we have 135 million shares outstanding. 40% of those shares are tied up in a lockup agreement with Orocobre, insiders, directors, and officers of the company. We did that to give the marketplace confidence that we're going to develop a resource there, that we're not here for short term. So that stock's tied up for 3 years. We've got a 52 price range between 36 and 134. Cash in the bank currently is 12 million US. Our largest shareholders right now, Orocobre, fully diluted at 29%. Management, insiders, and directors are at 22%. And our largest institutional shareholders, CIBC, Hauck and Aufhäuser, Delbrook Capital, and Arrow Capital as well. And currently we have coverage from 8 Capital, David Talbot, and we're hoping with the people that we've invited today after our presentation site visit, we'll gain a little bit more coverage from some of the other banks in Canada and potentially in the US and in Australia. Now, when you look at the metrics of companies, I want to try and compare us in our enterprise values to some of our peers in the industry. Now, these numbers have changed a little bit. These are as of October the 27th. The market's changed. As you all know, it's gotten a little bit more heated. So all these numbers are a little bit higher, but it's all relative across the board. If you look at Advantage and compared to some of the other exploration companies out there, we're still valued much lower than our peers in the industry. You've got a development company like Lithium Americas, near 700 million enterprise value, and Orocobre around $1 billion. To further demonstrate that, you can look at the price of the stock. That was, again, as of October the 27th. You look across the board with our peers, again, we're undervalued based on the assets that we have and what the value the market's giving us. Building a successful lithium producer. I think a lot of you that I've met already in the last couple of days, we've discussed a little bit about the team, the technical team that you need to put together. I think one of the talented partnerships that we do have is the one with Orocobre. If you already don't know, they're one of the only new independent lithium producers in the last 10 years that have come into the marketplace. We're leveraging off their expertise. their technical expertise, and also most importantly, their community relationships and what they've done with the government and the government relationships, similar to what our friends LAC and SQM have done in Kochari as well. We've got a management team that has the ability to raise capital. We haven't had any issues raising money. We've raised $29 million for Advantage Lithium. We've got a scalable, high-quality resource, local support, and the technical foundation with our structure right now to take this project to the next level. And that's key. I think a couple of the questions that were really important that were asked of me yesterday was, who's the team? Who's going to take this thing to the next level? And I think we've got a pretty good team. Our board of directors currently consists of 4 Advantage Lithium directors and then 2 Orocobre. I asked Richard Seville and Rick Anton to come on our board. I wanted to show that they valued the assets that we acquired from them and give us more credibility. They decided to come on. So there's 4 Advantage board members, 2 from Orocobre. Our management team, I'd like to introduce them similar to like John did. They've been in the industry a long time. I value their advice. You can't do anything by yourself. You've got to surround yourself with people who are quite knowledgeable about lithium, brought projects to feasibility, pre-feasibility, and project funding stages. I'd like to introduce first, if you could stand up, Callum Grant, who founded the company with me. Callum's had a lot of experience in Argentina for over 20 years. I won't go into all of the awards and stuff you've won and all the projects you've done. Callum, you're a humble guy. Secondly on our team is Miguel Perel. Miguel, a lot of you probably know, he's responsible, partly responsible with the management team at Olaroz, developed the facility there and also the deposit, and has been in the industry here 20 years and won numerous awards here. I think the last one, Callum or Miguel, you were nominated in 2012 for Mining Person of the Year in Argentina. Nominated, almost won, but nominated. Sylvia, Callum's wife, an integral part of our social, community and social responsibility. She's got a master's in anthropology, has worked with women here in Argentina, and continues now to transition now from Orocobre to Advantage full-time.
That's that correction. I don't think Miguel knows that Sylvia's my wife.
No, I'm sorry, Callum. Apologize.
It's Miguel's wife.
That is so like Callum. He's always there to correct me. If I say one tiny little thing that's not correct, he's going to correct me. So thank you very much, Callum. Murray Booker. Murray, I think a lot of you know Murray. He's got a background in geology and hydrology as well, and that's very important when you're bringing a project to the feasibility and pre-feasibility study stages. He's worked with Orocobre and many other companies. Also Doug Leishman, my colleague at Yorkton Securities. Doug, you can put up your hand there, Doug. Worked with Doug at Natural Resources for over 10 years with whole Natural Resource Group in Yorkton. A lot of experience in building companies, raising capital for them. And Andy Robb. Andy, are you here? Yeah. Andy's got a lot of experience as well. He worked with the Rincon Energy Group, bringing Rincon to pre-feasibility and feasibility study, project financing as well. So Andy's joining us part-time, but he'll come on full-time now as we start to transition more into the scoping study and doing a new resource. Fritz is not here. He's another hydrologist, well-respected. He's our independent QP and somebody who we rely on as well. Prior successes, what have we done before? Have we built projects? Have we raised capital? Doug and I started in Yorkton in 2000. Doug moved on to Endeavour to work with Frank Juster for 10 years, building companies and mines there. Orocobre was founded in 2007. When I was selling American Oil and Gas to Hess for $630 million, Doug was part of a group at Terrain, selling Terrain to Thompson Creek for $700. Orocobre was, as I said, one of the first new independent producers in the marketplace, raised over $750 million in debt and equity, and then we formed Advantage Lithium late 2016. Now, people always talk about the heart of the Lithium Triangle. I think, John, when they talk a little bit about where you're located, what's the infrastructure like. Our main asset, obviously, is Kochari. We've got 3 other assets that we picked up 100% of. But we're close to infrastructure. very close to paved highways, access to fresh water, natural gas pipeline, power. So infrastructure is quite important, and we're close. Obviously, in the Northwest, the press release that Callum will go into a little bit that we handed out to you. In the Northwest, we're maybe 4 or 5 kilometers away from our partner's facility in Olaroz. And also, there's, of course, SQM and LAC as well. We're quite close to you guys as far as distance in the Northwest. So that's really important to have that infrastructure in place. Some of the events and milestones since we closed the deal with Orocobre, we formed the Kochari joint venture with them. We raised $20 million. Many of you, it was supposed to be a bought deal, and I ended up going on 77 meetings all over the world. And I think the last one was one of the important ones for me. But when you talk to guys, you just market changes all the time. But we got the deal done at the end of March. We acquired a defined resource around just under 500,000 tons in the southeast. We started an aggressive drill program at the end of May. We've got optionality for development, low-cost pathway to production with our partner who's already gone through a lot of the ups and downs in terms of developing the right brine. And we're certainly leveraging off infrastructure and significant investments that are underway in that basin. You've got what John and his team have described today, how much money they're spending in the basin, what Orocobre is doing there, and what we're spending. So there's a lot of money being spent in the basin right now. We've added 2 people. I'm a believer of add the staff and add the technical people and build them up when you have something. We brought in Andy Robb and we brought in Fritz just for those reasons. And we do have board independence. We have our own operating committee, our own budget committees, own drilling committees. So we are independent in that sense. But we do leverage off some of the experience that Orocobre has in the basin, and they're very helpful to us. This is quite important when you're looking at well-established community relationships. I think Sylvia has done a great job with Orocobre, and now we're excited to have her on our team. And one of the assets that we acquired, 100% Antofalla, that Albemarle owns the southern part of the Salar. Sylvia and Miguel applied for an environmental permit for that, and they got it, are in the throes of getting that quite quickly. It's because of her relationship with the local community that she's able to do that, and hence the reason we have 17 permits to drill 12 diamond holes and 5 rotary holes. That's a lot to do with you, Sylvia, so thank you very much for your hard work there. So the key asset, the 75-25 joint venture with Orocobre. The JV is governed by a shareholder agreement, as I'd mentioned. We're leveraging off their technical expertise, government and community relationships. We've got 5 rotary holes permitted, 12 diamond holes to be completed. By year end, we're hoping to complete the 5 rotary holes and 4 to 5 diamond holes. Initially, we were looking to expand the southeastern zone in both width and depth, but now with this press release in the north, we're excited about the northwestern side. So we're going to do a little bit more work there and have an operational meeting about how deep we want to drill there. By 2018 Q1, we will be in the development of a new resource estimate and initiate our scoping study. And that's key for us. I think once we do that and define a new resource, I think we'll move to the next level and get different eyeballs on our company. And as I mentioned, we've got optionality in development where we're located. If you look at our goal is to become an independent producer. If the resource is big enough, then we're going to go that route. And our next step would be to look at an offtake agreement with a major. And part of that offtake would have to be a project financing for us. That's our next step. If in fact the resource isn't as big as we think it could be for a standalone, then we've got a fallback position with Orocobre and others in the basin to either pipe the brine to them for a small tolling fee. So that's a good fallback position for us to have, unlike any other junior out there. Now, I didn't get John's approval on this, but hopefully he's okay. But when people talk about closology and where you're drilling, I wanted to show you guys one of the holes we drilled in the southeast on number 9. And you're looking, I guess, to the northeast where number 10 is, and right in the middle is LAC and SQM's drill. And if we brought some binoculars and stuff, and I think Callum, they'll be able to see that drill rig from the northwest. So, we are in the right basin. SQM and all their hard work and Orocobre, they've de-risked the chemistry and Kochari. We're starting to de-risk the resource, so it's just a matter of time for us to come out with a new resource number. Is that all right?
Yeah, no, I was on the lab rig when I watched this other one. I was wondering, wow. I didn't have binoculars. I just used my phone.
So you'll see a lot of activity out there tomorrow as well, and I think you can see from the Olaroz facility from the northwest.
Yeah, this was taken back in August.
Yeah.
A lot of activity happening up there now. Got some sampling, photos of initial cleaning and development of number 10, some chip samples. Doug, did you bring any samples at all? You said you were going to try and bring some samples for people to take a look at. No?
At site.
On site, we'll have some. Excellent, excellent. So you get to see some in person there when you guys get up to our site. I'm going to turn this over to Callum and Murray now for a little bit of the technical presentation, so they can talk a little bit about what our goals are, objectives are, and what we're going to be doing moving forward. Thank you.
Thanks, David. Good afternoon, everybody. I'd now just like to share a few slides with you, explaining what we've been doing since we first colored the first rotary hole in May, early May, having closed the deal with Orocobre at the end of March, the beginning of April. So we've had a rapid build-up of activities at site, and you have the recent, hot off the press news release that explains some of the success we've now had, can now present in the northwest sector, and which is essentially a new brine body below the Archibarca fan. So a little bit of my background. I'm being urged by the CEO. I've been in the mining industry for longer than I care to mention, approximately 40 years. I've spent a large portion of that in South America, in Argentina for the last 12 years, mostly continuously. We lived in Argentina continuously with my wife up until the last few months. Both our children were educated in South America, one in Chile and one in Argentina. My background has covered everything from exploration to development, to project engineering, to detailed and basic engineering. Most of it, of course, in metalliferous situations, but in the last 2 or 3 years, since I first did a small consulting job at the Rincon operation while Andy Robb was the director of the project, I've been introduced to salar geology and lithium. There are a number of better experts than me in the room on our team, but it's been quite an exciting couple of years. But South America, I've spent quite a bit of time, so good. I'd just like to orient you a little bit with your map. This shows our two sectors, the two sectors of the property. One in the northwest target, that's 24 square kilometers in blue, and the other one in the southeast sector, which is 31 square kilometers. That's only a portion of our total holdings in the Cauchari Basin. We have 280 square kilometers, so this is just a portion of it. The southeast sector that you see there, that is the location of the existing resource that we have, that was tabled at the end of last year and the beginning of the new year, a study done by Murray Brooker. So you can see here in the holes that are named are the holes that we are currently on or have currently finished. And the holes in orange are the holes that were completed for the resource estimate back in 2011. The blue holes are the rotary holes, 5 rotary holes permitted this year, permitted and will be completed this year. And we have 12 diamond drill holes that are permitted and probably will complete another 4 or 5 of those. We'll get onto the sections later on. This is the scale, and that's the Orlos plant up north.
Let me show you this again for orientation. So the LAC tomorrow will come up 52. You'll see Orocobre on the right, and then we are, the LAC plant is right about here, and in the orientation materials you'll see I think you put drill results out today on that. Our pond array will be right in here. The border of Orocobre is up, and Orocobre's area is up there. That's general orientation.
Okay, a little bit about the exploration concept that we've been following and underpins our exploration expense and our exploration program that we initiated in May of this year. This is a conceptual cross-section, so a vertical cross-section going from northwest to southeast, looking northeast, and it shows the schematically, and it's relatively to scale, although there's vertical exaggeration at some point. It shows the southeast sector on the right and the northwest sector on the left. The southeast sector in dark blue at the top shows where the existing resource was estimated from the existing NI 43-101 report, 500,000 tons of lithium carbonate equivalent. And below that is where we are targeting with the current program. We show there a couple of the holes that we've completed to date, CAU-10 and CAU-9. One has gone down to 429 meters and the other one went down to 340 meters. We most likely will continue to depth on one of the existing rotary holes that is currently underway, number 8, that we'll see on a map later on. So that's with just looking at it very simplistically, since the previous resource, the existing resource we have, only went down to 150 or 200 meters for various reasons, some operational, they just couldn't get to depth with the diamond drilling equipment they had at the time. We've now got down to 400 meters. Logically speaking, we are confident we're going to double that resource on that southeast side. Turning to the northwest, which is on the other side of the Lithium Americas property, we have a target that was drawn up in concept by Murray and Miguel and others, that below the Archibarque alluvial fan, it's a gravel fan, there is a continuation of the salar. So last month we completed as far as we could get with one of the diamond drill holes, CAU-7, and we have also are well down with CAU-16. That the results came out after this presentation was put together, and those two holes have essentially done a couple of things. We're by no means complete with all the systematic sampling all the way up the hole, but we've taken a number of samples already with balers or with packers, and we have the numbers that you see in the press release, 600 and something milligrams per liter in both holes. We have a number of samples pending from number 16, and almost as importantly as those very impressive grades is the fact that we've encountered sand, significant quantities of sand, which indicates we don't have flow tests on it yet because they're diamond drill holes, but we're expecting to go back onto number 7 because it only got down to 320 meters, something like that. So now we're going to go back with the rotary hole and we're going to take it all the way down to 400 or deeper with a bigger rotary hole. The diamond drill got stuck, which typically often happens with diamond drills. So that's the information announced today, and it's wide open there. in terms of what now we would like to see as a minimum, as a threshold for launching a scoping study sometime in the new year or whenever we get the resource model updated. But we're looking at a couple of million tons. That's we think is our threshold in order to launch a study. So this is just some of the results. You have them there. They're out of date because we made that news release this morning on 7 and 17. In the southeast sector, we did our initial pump test on number 10 and number 9. Both of them came up. They're cased. The first one was cased and filter construction from 50 meters down to 340, and the other one was 50 to 400 meters in sections of filter, 6-meter filters and 6-meter casing roughly. And they both returned the results that you see there from short-term pump tests. It's a single well pump test. They're not the full pump tests with a monitoring well yet, and gave us very good results. The flow rate a little bit at the low end that we would like, but very similar to our neighbor's results published in that part of the basin. In the northwest sector, well, we've got this initial result from number 7. As I mentioned, significant thickness of sands, which is going to have double-digit flow rates most likely, and we're currently on number 16, which is we'll see tomorrow. We'll go to that site, and you can see some of the core and some of the chips from some of the other holes. I want to go back to this location map because what I'm going to show you now is 2 cross sections, vertical cross sections. The first one A prime, and you'll see it'll run right through CA11 to CAU10. We're currently drilling CAU11, finished CAU10. And then I'll show you one across the basin from the northwest sector, CAU7, interpreted across our neighbor's countryside and into the southeast section. This is interpretation is courtesy of Murray Brooker, I have to say that. But it shows that really a longitudinal section going southwest, northeast, and it shows in general terms what our interpretation is and what we've encountered in the holes from logging the chips or well, this is just logging the chips right now from the rotary holes. We have the upper clay system, and then go through halite, and then we got into mixed sediments and halite at the bottom. Now what we want to do is we want to extend one or more of these holes and get into what we're looking for deeper down, which is the basal sand unit. That's going to take a little bit more, maybe a larger rig or something like that. And we'll have to see how we do that, but that's definitely in the plans because we want to get to basement, we want to ground truth the geophysics, and we want to get into this unit where we're going to get, again, big flows of brine. The section, this is the BB section, the section from northwest to southeast through across the basin. Number 7, this is the average of 3 Baylor samples taken at 236 meter. And we're going to come back and extend that again with the rotary machine down in there. We crossed our neighbor's countryside, so we interpreted that a little bit. That's not definitive by any means. Into our southeast section, where again we can correlate this geological interpretation. We've pumped. This is showing the pump test results from number 9 and number 8. We're down at 430 meters right now, and that's one that we'll keep going. We'll keep going on. So those are just a couple of sections. I should mention that we've got a number of large-scale plots of the detailed logs for those who would like to pore over them and have a look at them and ask us more details, and we'd be pleased to do that anytime that you would like. I'd just like to sort of end this technical part just to a word of thanks to this is part of the team, the project team at site. two project supervisors there, drill geologists who are on 2 shifts, night and day, and have gone through the winter doing that, and support staff at our Porvenir camp. We currently have a total staff of 30 people, plus in the camp we have crews for 3 drill machines, 2 rotary and a diamond drill, and we're probably looking at adding another one at some point.
Finish that next slide, Callum, for
Okay.
Catalyst
Okay.
2018.
Yep. So we couldn't have done it, got to where we are without these guys, and just forming the team, alluding to David's comment, it doesn't work, particularly in these extreme conditions, without a good team that gets on together, and we've been successful thanks to Miguel and the others. A little bit just where we're going forward. The idea is to finish those 5 rotary holes, complete the packer testing, which will provide us now not just with an average number for the hole, but we'll get detailed brine samples for individual filter sections going all the way up the hole, and that is therefore is going to look like a conventional diamond drill log that you maybe are mostly used to see. Will actually have values all the way up the hole, and that's the information that will go into the 43101. So we're just starting to do that now on CAU 10. We have a double packer system that we brought in from Belgium, and so we get that done with all those holes, with the diamond drill holes, and we'd like to think in the new year we are going to redo the resource that we have, and certainly double it, and with luck quadruple it. With that done, even though it's only to inferred with a little bit of indicated, it's enough to do a scoping study. We would like to demonstrate to the market as soon as possible the economics of this venture, and that's the only way to do it quickly, and we plan to do just that as quickly as possible. And just an indication of our confidence that we are moving towards engineering studies, the fact that we've been lucky enough to have Andy Robb join the team. Andy saw, as David mentioned, the Rincon project through to completion of a definitive feasibility study. He spent 2 or 3 years in Salta, and very experienced man in terms of getting engineering studies done, and that's what we're thinking. That's what we're going to do. So we'll do that start that study in the first quarter of next year, and then we'll take it from there. We have options, we have optionalities, and we'll take a look at what our best option is, the trade-offs, the pros and cons of supplying brine as an offtake agreement to somebody, or doing something on our own. We have to wait and see how that resource turns out, and what the trade-offs, the cost-benefit of various options that we'd like to study. Then we'll barrel along into PFS, probably with an additional number of holes and serious pump tests now, long-term pump tests with monitoring holes parallel to the sunk down to the parallel to the rotary holes, and with that we'll get into a more dynamic model and a feasibility study with everything that goes with that. So that will take us into 2019, and we hope by then we'll have the feasibility study done, and we'll have at least started the permitting process for the project. Would you like to finish? There's some more. Leave that one?
Summary.
Okay. All right, with that.
Tired here, you can tell you the eyes. Do you have
Yeah.
any questions or anything?